What up, guys? Got another movie review request here. This movie is The Lighthouse from 2019. This is a request from Bobby on my Patreon. But before I hop into that movie review, I want to let you know what movie breakdowns is. Is there a movie I want to review? Let me know. Please put in the comments below and I get to as best I can. We're going to review movies, giving it an A through F grade, plus and minus do count. And also Patreon. Patreon/Ali Zakka for $2 a month. You pretty much get to pay for me to review a show or a series or a movie, and you get to cut in front of everybody else, get your movie review come out way before it come out on Facebook and YouTube. Now, let's go and get into today's episode of The Lighthouse for 2019. And I'm not sure why I said it like that. I'm just rolling with it because I feel like saying it like that. So The Lighthouse, what is this movie about? It's a movie about two men who are working at a lighthouse in the New England area in the 1890s, the 1800s. And they're trying to keep their sanity. They're not trying to lose their minds while they're both living on this lighthouse together, running the lighthouse. They're trying to keep their sanity. It's just the two of them, these two guys, and that's it. The things I liked about this movie, the acting. The acting is great. Yeah, Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe acting their butt off. It is definitely them going 110% into this movie, and give them props for doing that. The other things I like is, I like the creativity behind this movie. This movie it's definitely a film, not even really, I'll say a movie, if that makes any sense. And the reason why I say that, because when I know that I watch movies that are considered film, they're more artistic piece added to it. There's more creativity added to it versus just like, you know, your summer blockbuster movie. The movie like, I'm gonna go watch Ant-Man and Wasp, and that right there I'll say is a movie. I wouldn't say it is a film kind of style. This movie, The Lighthouse, is in black and white, 100% black and white. And for a movie that came out in 2019, you're like, okay, watch this all in black and white. So it feels like an old-timey movie, kind of like Eraserhead. And with this movie, you get imagery and different scenes where Robert Pattinson character is losing his mind, and he sees he's messing with a mermaid, and you get like the mermaid design and the look of a mermaid. Then he flips into another scene where he's going through something else, and then there's a scene where he is fighting William Dafoe's character, and William Dafoe turns into like an octopus tentacle kind of creature. And all I can think of at this point in time is that this man has read some very adult mangas or seen some things with tentacles, because tentacles are in this movie. Anyway, it just made me think of kind of stuff like that, where this movie just gets really out of hand, just really crazy and over the top at certain points in time, and then it cuts back into like, you know, normal pacing. They're sitting down at a table talking, taking their slow, sweet time, and the pacing of the movie seems to be like, you know, paced out, where it's like it brings you down, and then all of a sudden it's a giant like cut, and there's like a lot of stuff going on, flashing, or, you know, Robert Pattinson character doing something, and you're just like, wait a minute, this turns so quickly. And the movie just really seemed like a more creative piece than like a compelling story to me. And that's a negative, is that the story of this movie is not really that compelling. I didn't really care for the story. I tried to get into it and I just wasn't feeling the story of it. It was like, okay, like, who's the antagonist? You can say William Dafoe's character is the antagonist to our main character played by Robert Pattinson. You can say they're like, you know, butting heads with each other. Their ideals about how they go about and what they're doing does clash at a point in this movie. But then you watch, you know, Robert Pattinson's character lose sanity. But I feel like the movie broke that down. Another thing is the pacing of it. I feel like it broke it down between like slow paced scenes in between, to then get this giant shock scene where like, okay, the imagery is all over the top, or Robert Pattinson's fighting a seagull, and it's like, okay, this is really like over top, overdone. He's beating a seagull up against a rock and there's blood spatter everywhere. And then there's the scene at the lighthouse where Robert Pattinson gets to the top of the lighthouse and then touches the light and screams, and the audible of the movie goes like a very just high-pitched screaming, and kind of audibles out where almost like a blur of a sound, but you know what's happening. And then the final scene of the movie, you're just like, okay. But like so much pacing in between the two, where just like, all right, it seems like this movie, it's trying to slow you down to put you into this high imagery scenes, to see like, oh my gosh, the imagery and the artwork and production that went into this, and the character design and the not cosplay where I'm looking for, but I'm looking for more of the like makeup and artistry that goes into this, like it's over the top. But then when it comes, or character design, not character design, costume work that goes into this movie, really over the top, really designed and all that. But then the storyline itself and the pacing between those scenes, for me, dragged me down a little bit. It was just like, all right, we're moving slow. I can see William Dafoe being the antagonist, being the bad guy, but then he's not really the bad guy. He just trying to get this young buck to do stuff, and this young buck, Robert Pattinson, who's not used to this kind of lifestyle, or who seems like he's not a veteran, he's not into it as long as William Dafoe character is, who's done this for multiple decades from what it sounds like when I've listened to the movie and watching the movie. But it just seems like you thought there'd be like a beef between those two, and it was, but really this movie wasn't really more about the story. It just seemed more about the imagery and the shock value this movie is going to give you from what you're seeing. That's why I felt like when I was watching The Lighthouse, it's like a movie where they really wanted you to just be like, oh, I walked away from the imagery of it. It's like the imagery was really cool, the acting was great. The story, it's not the best story to me. The story is not the greatest. It doesn't hold this movie up for me, not at all. Okay, let's go and get into the movie details, budget, cast, and crew. The Lighthouse, which is a rated R movie, is an hour and 49 minutes long. It was directed by Robert Eggers, written by Robert Eggers and Max Eggers. The budget for this movie was $11 million, and it grossed worldwide $18 million. The acting, the cast, we have Robert Pattinson, who plays Thomas Howard. Thought Robert Pattinson did a great job. Thomas Howard, the character himself, was like definitely a dude who, he hasn't been probably in isolation as long as William Dafoe's character was. So like he's not used to, not seeing a girl, or he's envisioning women and he's doing things, and also he's not used to living this kind of lifestyle. He's mentally not prepared for this, and you see his slow decline in this movie. And then William Dafoe, who plays Thomas Wake, thought William Dafoe did a great job as well. He knocked out the park, and I think at one point he was an antagonist character to the character. Like, wait a minute, I'm feeling sympathy for this character. I guess antagonist doesn't mean a bad guy; it just means somebody who's opposing the protagonist. But I think the acting between the two of them was really great. That was good work. That's pretty much it. That's the cast. That's the cast of the movie. It's just those two guys. There's a few side characters there, but mostly it's just those two guys. Any other thoughts? Not really. I don't have any other thoughts with this movie. Like I said before, the music. I'm pretty sure there's music in this movie. If it's not, I don't remember hearing anything music. There's notable music. So it could be one of the movies that didn't have music in it. I probably completely missed that. But as far as music goes, if there was music, I didn't notice it. It didn't really, the soundtrack didn't really stand out to me. The costume design, the artistic imagery of this movie was probably the best thing about this movie, as well as the acting. Just the imagery of it, definitely I can see why this movie got such a high grade, especially on IMDb, because it's this film that stands out as far as what we was getting in 2019. But for me, the pacing of it really doesn't help it, and the fact the storyline is not the greatest storyline. It's okay. Is this a Friday night movie? Nah, it's not a Friday night movie. Don't watch the movie on Friday night. And grading time. I'm gonna grade The Lighthouse from 2019. I'm gonna give this movie a B-, because B- for me an 80%. The IMDb gives this movie a 7.4 out of 10. That is a solid C. And Rotten Tomatoes gives this movie a 90%, which is an A-, and that's from the critics, and the audience gives the movie a 72%, which is a C-. I'll give this movie an 80%, a B-. Like I said, I think the acting is great. I think the creativity behind the movie, the costume design, the character work, the imagery of this movie, the fact the movie's in black and white, I think those things work for me for this movie, and it really makes this movie different from other movies. But when it comes down to its core, the storyline and the pacing of it, what just really bothered me in this movie, the storyline, simple storyline, somebody losing their mind, but then the pacing of it just really didn't drag me into it like I wanted to. And then you get those imagery moments oh my gosh, this is going on, and then it drops back off to maybe they're sitting at a table and they're having dinner, and then they're doing something else, and then Robert Pattinson fighting the bird again. I'm like, what's going on with the bird? And then at the end of the movie, the bird comes back and gets him. So you're like, oh, okay, well, no full circle there. But it's definitely a movie where you're like, Okay, I see it. I see why people give this movie a high score, and I see why people give this movie a C. It's a B minus for me and 80%. If you've seen The Lighthouse for 2019, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys next episode of Movie Breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.